Okay, without further ado, I think we can begin. After two wonderful sessions hosted by the Nitin that we need, this one is being hosted by the Navneet that you don't, which is why this arrangement is so bad. But nevertheless, we are waiting an extremely by good to you.
Okay. Thanks, Navneet.
I hope my screen is visible, right, to everyone?
Yes, sir, it's visible.
Why is it not?
You can press that presentation mode, which is
Oh, this
from
one.
beginning, yeah. Thanks. Okay. So hello everyone. Thank you for joining this session. And I think this is the third session of our consulting club. And today we will be talking about the consulting in the FMCG sector. This is the flow of the presentation today. We will start with a brief introduction of the FMCG sector and what are the different areas where we as consultants can add value. We will then dive deeper into the manufacturing consulting frameworks and when and where and how they are applied. And we will discuss around 4 or 5 different frameworks that are, very popularly used in the manufacturing areas. And then we will end the session with a case study and a small quiz. Next slide, please, Karthi. Yeah. So we all know what FMCG is. It is fast-moving consumer goods. But what does that mean? It means that these are packaged goods that are made for pretty much everyday consumption, and they sell very quickly off the shelves. Some of the examples are the packaged foods and beverages, the household products, personal care products, etc. So since these products are made for everyday consumption, they are pretty much affordable in nature, which means that every unit that is being sold by the company, they earn a very small margin or a very small profit at every unit sold. So their profit or their revenue depends, very heavily on the sales volume that they deliver. So what the sales volume that they deliver. So what the FMCG companies need to do to succeed in such an environment, because these products are also they also have a very high demand volatility, which is very driven by the festive season or the influencer culture that's rapidly growing. And in addition to that, they also are perishable in nature, which means that if you do not move your supply chain fast enough, or if it is not responsive enough to the market demands, there is either a risk of stock out or a risk of product spoilage or overstocking, things like that. So what a brand needs to do to succeed, it needs a highly efficient core operations, which is the manufacturing in this FMCG industry, and an agile and responsive supply chain. Next slide, please. So what role does consulting play in FMCG sector? So if we look at any supply chain in the FMCG sector, we at a very high level, we have the sourcing of raw materials. We have planning, what to produce, how much to produce, where to produce. Then we have manufacturing, where we actually make the product which we are going to sell. Then comes the warehousing and logistics, and then the product finally reaches the consumer shelf. Now, each of these areas have very different strategies. So we have very different types of consulting. So I have divided it broadly into 4 types. There may be more of these, but this is what I am aware of. So we have the operations and supply chain consulting, which focuses on reducing costs and improving efficiency in the manufacturing and logistics setup. Then we have strategy consulting, which deals with the overall product positioning and the pricing decisions, the expansion decisions, and other growth strategies for the category. Then comes the sales and marketing consulting, which revolves around the consumer behavior analysis, the sales and retail channel optimization, the promotion and campaign strategies, etc. Then comes the digital or IT consulting, which deals with the overall digitization of the supply chain, the automation of the systems, etc. So today we will be discussing more on the operations and supply chain consulting. Next slide, please. There is a very popular term that we use in the manufacturing industry, which is operational excellence or the manufacturing excellence. This was, P&G has been a leading adapter of this concept and developed an integrated work system, which is a framework that has been widely adopted across the manufacturing firms across the world. It focuses on optimizing all the aspects of manufacturing to achieve the highest levels of the operational performance as well as the quality and efficiency of the machines that we are using at our plant. So operational excellence is something, if you see this Venn diagram, operational excellence is something that, it arises from the process excellence and it leads to the business excellence. By process excellence, we mean that the lowest level of processes that are going into our manufacturing. It could be a very small, machine which is doing just one step in the manufacturing process. So every machine that is there at the shop floor, it has to achieve process excellence. This then needs to combine with the overall systems that are in place. By systems, I mean not just the machine, it is the people that you have, it is the production planning that you have, it entails everything. And when all of this works well, it leads to the operational excellence, which ultimately contributes to the business excellence, which is our sales ho gaya, ya revenue ho gaya, and things like that, the top level, what we say. So it basically revolves around optimizing the end-to-end plant operations, and that's it. So I mentioned that the FMCG industry is very highly competitive, right? And there is not much that you can do here to differentiate your product, because if someone is going to buy chips, it doesn't matter too much कि कौन सा ब्रांड का ले रहा है. It is very rarely कि ठीक है आप भी कभी चिप्स लेने जाते हो, अगर आपको अपनी पसंद का नहीं मिलता है, you don't return empty handed, you buy whatever is there, right? So in such a high competitive environment and demand volatility is there among the products and all, so it is very important that we have a very strong framework for our manufacturing setup, because even it may seem like कि ठीक है, if your production plan was, let us say 20 tons, you produce only 18 tons, to you it feels like ठीक है 2 ही टन तो कम बनाया या 1 टन तो कम बनाया, but it translates to huge losses at the sales end. It is basically blocking your entire flow. So these are the 5 frameworks that we will be working on: lean manufacturing, Six Sigma, PDCA, Fishbone analysis, and one more, 5 whys strategy. So we will start with the lean management. So lean management is the heart of the continuous improvement. Continuous improvement is one of the core philosophies that we follow on the shop floor, is that you do not have to have big targets. Every day, whenever you go on the shop floor, if you are touching the machine, you should do it with the intent of improving it. It seems very far-fetched, it is a hyperbole, but it is only when we have this target, then we are able to achieve, let us say 80% of it. If we don't keep that as a target, we believe that we won't be able to achieve that, the whole strong manufacturing framework that we are talking about. So lean management is basically the heart of that continuous improvement philosophy. It aims at identifying and eliminating these 7 types of deadly wastes from your manufacturing setup. It is overproduction, waiting and delays, transportation, excess unnecessary motion of both the machine, the product, everything, and over processing or over engineering of the product or the methods, inventory too low or too high of an inventory, and the defects that we produce. So these are the 7 wastes that we target when it comes to the lean management. Now, if you see this cycle that we have put up, it is the 5 principles of the lean management that we apply. The first one is defining the value. Value means you identify what customer truly values in product or service. Then you move on to your supply chain. You map your complete value stream. You map every process and every step that is contributing to the production of that product, which is ultimately delivering the value to the customer. And you identify all the steps involved and and pinpoint the areas of waste or wherever there is a scope of eliminating an unnecessary step or thing like that. Then once you have mapped your value stream, you create a flow. You ensure uninterrupted flow of work throughout the processes, eliminating bottlenecks and delays. I would like to give one example here. One of the thing was कि when we say कि eliminating waste and delays, when we say, we often think कि कुछ ऐसा tangible होना चाहिए कि हाँ ठीक है, हमको ये दिख रहा है कि इतना product waste हो रहा था and now हमने इतना reduce कर दिया, but it doesn't always have to be like that. So one of the things that I witnessed in one of the factories was that they were setting up a new line. It was very similar to one of the other production lines they already had at the site. But while they were setting up this new line, they talked to the operators that were actually working on the original line. They took their inputs, and one of the operators, he just mentioned, "Sir, यहाँ से ना बहुत घूम के जाना पड़ता है जब production नहीं भी हो रहा हो तब भी किसी भी चीज को लेके जाने के लिए." Now it might seem a very trivial thing to us, okay, कि ठीक है ये आलस कर रहा है, but that is not the thing, okay, because when you are working in that setup, you have to make sure that your employee is also not oversaturated, because again it will start reflecting in their work and it will ultimately affect the product. So when they designed that new line, what they did was, okay, whenever the production was approved, the production was on halt, they made the bed flexible. You could actually place the bed however you needed. The complete machine could be rotated by hand, and it was not a very light bed. It was not like that, but they designed it in such a way. They brought in their engineers. They designed it in such a way, and they modified the design, and it is very helpful. Like it is, it is contributing in intangible ways, not directly, but indirectly, it is contributing to the lean management principle that we are talking about. So anyway, then the next one is the next point in the cycle is introduce pull system. Pull system, it means not pushing the product कि हमने ये बना दिया है, and not pushing the product on the consumer. We produce only what is needed when it is needed and in the quantity in how much it is needed. So that is when our production planning systems using this AI and ML tools comes into the picture. So you don't overproduce, don't underproduce, and then pursue perfection is just you continuously try to improve your systems and maintain the standard that you have been following for this production. Next slide, please. Okay. So Six Sigma and DMAIC approach is more of a data-driven approach. It is mostly used when you need to quantify your process capability. कि ठीक है आप अपनी machine चला रहे हो, but what is the reliability of that machine? That is what we mean by the process capability. कि अगर आप 10 times उस machine को चला रहे हो, how many times are you getting the same output or the closest output? कि मतलब उसमें reliability होनी चाहिए आपकी machine के अंदर. So it is this kind of framework is majorly used when you want to track variations in your process parameters, or if you have been witnessing a rise in defects in your system. In that kind of a system, you use the Six Sigma approach. So within the Six Sigma, we apply this DMAIC tool, which is define, measure, analyze, improve, and control. Whatever problem you are facing, let us say you are observing a high defect rate in the packets produced. Okay, so you define this as a problem. Then you will start collecting data कि ये defect आ रहा है तो इस product में कहाँ से आ रहा है, कौन सी machine से ये defect आ रहा है. Are you able to identify the machine which produced this defective product? If you are able to identify, that is very good, and that is why actually a lot of manufacturing companies have make use of all these IoT tools to trace. There is always, whenever you buy a product, you will see a batch code printed. That batch code is printed so that when you as a consumer complain to them, They are able to pinpoint the exact machine which produced that defect, and depending on the company, you can even tell the time at which that defect was printed. That varies company to company. So that is one of the tools that they use. So once you have identified the problem, you measure, you collect data, you keep analyzing that data, and you find the root cause. You trace it back कि कहाँ से ये defect है. Once you have identified that defect, you propose some solutions for that. You test those solutions, and if you see an improvement in those by implementing those solutions, you standardize that. You define an SOP for that. Okay, we used to do that earlier, but that led to increased effects. So now, from now on, we will be using this, science or data-backed process, which has shown us a reduction in our complaints or defects. Okay. So next is the plan, do, and check and act approach. This is so far whatever three frameworks we talked about, these were implemented once we have already observed things going wrong. The plan, do, check, act is more about the continuous improvement while iterating the process. So you have not observed any defects, okay? But a general issue is that, let us say your KPI says you have to achieve this much level of efficiency, okay? And you hypothesize what if this efficiency is related to this process? You don't know if it is related or not. You have no idea, okay? But you did some analysis and you have a feeling that this might be a reason. So what we do is we use this PDCA approach at a small scale level as a pilot project. For a very few weeks, we will we will frame this hypothesis, we will plan key. Okay, this is the problem statement that we are having. So like here I have used the example of product weight variation among the products that are produced. Okay, so old SOP used to say that the nozzles are supposed to be cleaned once per shift. Okay, but you have been observing a lot of variation, and you have a feeling that if we reduce this cleaning frequency, then maybe it will not lead to this much of variation. Okay, so you propose this hypothesis. Let us say you reduce the cleaning frequency from once per shift to twice per shift. Okay, then you collect data for both of the processes. You compare it, and if there is a improvement observed, you make that as a standardized operating process. So okay, what I would like to ask from the audience, what do you think is the difference between the PDCA approach and the Six Sigma approach that we just discussed? Because both of them are based on the data that we have been using. So anyone would like to take a shot?
Six Sigma is more focused on the quality control in the operations, while PDCA is more focused on process improvement, continuous process improvement.
Yes. Yeah. The most of the part was correct. I was just like to change one small thing. The Six Sigma you pointed out correctly is used when you have defects in the system, and it is more process capability based. In PDCA, it is more improvement focused, solving the current existing problem. That is the only difference. That you go to Six Sigma when you already have the defect.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, then moving to the root cause analysis. So there are two types of root cause analysis. Not just there are more, but popularly these two are used. One is the Fishbone analysis, and another one is this five whys analysis. So the Fishbone analysis is used when you have to explore multiple contributors to the problem. You have the problem, okay, but you don't know what is causing the problem. Up until now, whatever we discussed, it was pretty much sure, okay, you got a defective product, it must be the machine in most of the cases, okay. It might be something else also, but if you, it was a kind of a lower level problem. Now let us say you are experiencing some problem when the product has already left your site, okay. So you are not tracing it back to your machine. आपको जब already product वहाँ से निकल गया, then you are getting कि इस चीज में delay आ रहा है. Like here we have used an example of frequent delays in product deliveries to retail chains. Okay, so you have no idea at what point the delay is coming. So what people try to do is they will try to categorize it into 5 M methods, we call it, which is man, machine, method, material, and measurement. you will go through each of this category. You will go to man, you will ask yourself the question, you will ask the team, are there untrained warehouse pickers? Why are these coming? Are they not aware of how the process is to be followed? If yes, then that will be one of the contributors. Then machine, the label printers falling during peak hours. Okay, maybe they have some SOP where the product moves only after the printing has been done. So in this case, the machine might also be. Similarly, we have a method. If we have manual order sorting process, the manual method is causing the delays. The material, if we have inconsistent packaging sizes, then let us say if you are getting inconsistent deliveries, then you are hiring someone to do the sorting कि एक ही तरह का प्रोडक्ट जाए कंज्यूमर के पास. So that is another type of delay. So fishbone diagram we primarily use when immediately it is not clear to us कि क्या दिक्कत हो रही है सिस्टम में. Then next is the 5 why analysis. This is also very similar to the fishbone diagram. Actually, these are very frequently used together. So 5 why analysis is basically that you keep asking the question why until you get to the true root cause. For example, here we have the underweight chocolate bars are being produced. Why is it having less chocolate? Is the machine depositing less chocolate? If yes, then why is it depositing less chocolate? The valve wasn't sealing completely. Why is it not sealing? The routine calibration was not performed. Why it is not performed? Because SOP was not followed. Why was it not followed? Then you have the person. Okay, we have this very kind of this saying ki if you want to get something done, you make a person accountable and not a department accountable because आप person का गलत कर सकते हो. So the 5 why analysis does this. It actually takes you back to the person who was supposed to be responsible, and it also helps to set a culture of this 100% of accountability. क्योंकि a lot of times what we see is कि people are like कि ठीक है ये मेरा काम नहीं है, ऐसा नहीं है, ये हम सबका काम है. That kind of mentality they build through this kind of analysis, because ultimately देखो कुछ भी आता है, कुछ भी गड़बड़ होता है, we have to do a root cause analysis, and there is always a person at the receiving end of it. So that is kind of ensuring the continuity in the system. Okay, so these are the 5 or 6 frameworks that we discussed. I thought of including a small quiz for this. So I'll share my screen here, Dharitri, okay? You guys can scan this code first and then I'll start sharing my screen. Okay, is my screen visible?
Yes.
Okay, just a second. I'll reshare. Okay, is it visible now? Okay, only 2 players have
QR will be shared once more.
Where is the QR?
Yeah.
The QR is not showing.
Just a minute, I'll share the QR also. I'll put it in the chat box here, or I'll put the Menti code. 1 second. Okay, I've shared the Menti code on the chat box.
Rishika, did you started the quiz or waiting?
No, no, I haven't started yet.
Okay.
No, Deepak, it hasn't started. We are kind of waiting for a few more if somebody wants to join.
You know, this is a recording meeting, right? Oh, we can't see the chat box, right, in recording. Thank you so much. I was very nervous before the session. I think we can start the quiz. Okay. So the biscuit wrapping machine often breaks down, but no one knows why. You want to categorize all possible reasons. What framework are you using? Okay. So it is the Fishbone framework because it says that you want to categorize all the possible reasons. And before the quiz, actually, I want to say that there is no right or wrong answer. Okay, we just had to put one tick in Menti, so that's why it is more about choosing the most appropriate framework, because ultimately all these frameworks will lead you to the same answer. They might take you through different routes, but ultimately the root cause will be identified and it will always be the same root cause. It is just a different approaches, though it's like a more time saving perspectives, or it is more on the judgment call refinement kind of thing. Okay, so in this case, the Fishbone answer was the correct one because they wanted to categorize all of the possible reasons. Next would be a batch of chocolate bars consistently ends up underweight. You suspect a valve issue, but you want to dig deeper. Which framework would you use? Correct. You want to test a new milk crate design that claims to reduce spoilage during the summer transport. Which framework? Yeah, because it is a hypothesis, so we will be using the PDCA framework. The logistics team is taking longer than expected to fulfill orders due to unnecessary steps in the delivery process. How do you approach this? Okay. DMAIC, it wouldn't be, because DMAIC and Six Sigma is the same thing. It wouldn't be this one because it has nothing to do with the process capability or it is not even data driven as such. It says clearly that, unnecessary steps are involved in the process. That's why it is more to the lean manufacturing. All right, we have the Panshu reading the leaderboard. A juice factory has a 4% rejection rate on their production line. The management wants to bring it under 1%. Which framework are we using here? Yes. This is the last question. There is an increase in customer complaints about leaking milk packets. You are not sure if it is production, packaging, or a transport issue. Yeah, it's Fishbone. Okay, sir. Congratulations, Dipanshu. Okay. I'll present my screen again. We just have one more case study to go. Okay. So the company has been, there is some company that has been facing some rising customer complaints about product quality, particularly variation in texture and fragrance across the batches. The issue has started to affect brand trust, and the operations head is concerned that at the plant level manufacturing, the processes might be the root cause. You have, as a consultant, have been brought in to identify the core problem and suggest improvements using the operations and excellence tools and frameworks. So I actually want this to be, more discussion based. So anyone would like to tell how they will be approaching this problem?
So should we start with this fishbone analysis because we don't know like the company is saying that plant level manufacturing could be such a hard risk whenever I
Should we go for
And
with the Six Sigma and DMAIC? Now, since we already know that there is variation in texture and fragrance, which is being deviated from the quality, our quality standards. So we should go for Six Sigma and then improve the quality control process through DMAIC.
but in Six Sigma it is said that जैसे पहले बताया था कि quantify कुछ quantify process capability. So is it possible that
Vinamra, you are not audible to me. Is that just me or?
His voice is breaking. Vinamra, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Am I audible?
Yes, now
Yes,
you
yes,
are
Vinamra.
audible. Yeah.
Yeah. I just said that since we already know that there is variation in texture and fragrance,
Hmm.
so should we proceed with Six Sigma, and in order to improve the process, we can also use DMAIC, the process.
Yes, Six Sigma would be a good approach. Anyone else wants to chip in? Because there are no bad, like wrong approaches as such. It is just, to get more ideas. Okay, what would be the best way?
So in this question, it is said that the issue has started to affect brand trust and the operation that is concerned that the plant manufacturing process might be the root cause. So he is guessing that root cause is this, but we have to see like what is the root cause. So when talking about root cause, then we have fishbone or five whys. So I was thinking that when we don't know at which level the problem is coming, so we should
Yes.
use the fishbone analysis starting to start with, and if we have some data key, because Six Sigma is used when we try to quantify the process capability. When we know that okay process may issue hai, so then we will try to quantify it. So I think we should start with fishbone as well.
Yes. So the fishbone analysis can be our starting point. Ki we will map everything: man, machine, method, measurement, and one more. What was it? I forgot actually.
Material.
Material. Yes. So we can write everything and what might be contributing to the cause. Then another that if it is being asked in an interview or something, we can also ask the interviewer कि ठीक है, what are the stats कि आपको कहाँ से consumer complaints ज़्यादा आ रही है, from where that product is flowing through, how that product is flowing through that, so that will be able to give us more insights into this. And then once we have identified the कि कौन सी category से दिक्कत आई है, then we can move on to the Six Sigma and DMAIC framework if it is applicable. Because ठीक है, अगर if this people are feeling कि texture में variance है, so it might be most probably the machine. So once that has been confirmed by the fishbone analysis, we can move towards कि हाँ ठीक है, अब इस machine का data we will collect and we will do analysis on that कि why this is happening. Any other uh, frameworks anyone would like to add to this?
I have a question related to this five whys. So
हाँ
if we have to combine, as you said, that we can also integrate this five why with fishbone. Can we integrate this too?
क्या क्या if we
Can we integrate five whys and fishbone analysis?
yes in a lot of cases it is actually integrated क्योंकि एक बार देखो फिर आपने बनाया, then you have identified the category and then you start asking this why question कि why did this fail, then why did this not happen, that kind of thing. So more often than not it is integrated. Okay, so there is one thing in this discussion, they have also added the fragrance across the batches. Okay. So this could be the machine problem, but this could also be a logistic problem or the warehouse storage problem. कि अगर fragrance में कुछ variation आ रहा है, तो are there some leakages in the warehouse operations की कहीं से कुछ contamination हो रहा हो या कहीं से उसका फ्रेग्रेंस इफेक्ट हो रहा हो या फिर आप उसको आइडियल कंडीशंस में नहीं स्टोर कर रहे हो, तो इट कैन आल्सो रिलेट इन सम वेज टू द लीन मैनेजमेंट फ्रेमवर्क कि आर देयर सम अननेसेसरी थिंग्स इन्वॉल्वड इन द एनवायरनमेंट, तो उसको एलिमिनेट करने के लिए वी कैन यूज दिस लीन मैनेजमेंट आल्सो. So basically the fishbone diagram, the Six Sigma and DMAIC method, and the lean management will be the three principles that we will be using.
Also, Rishika, there's one question from Vishwajoy Bhattacharya. He's asking, can we explore five whys? Like, would you?
Explore within this case study.
Yes, हाँ, इसी में.
हाँ
Can we explore five whys also?
Yes. So 5 whys we can actually build one example. Explain. Okay, they are saying texture variation. Okay. So texture variation. Uh, I don't know what kind of product is this, okay, but if we are talking about chocolate, because that is the only thing I know about. So if we are talking about chocolate, the texture very heavily depends on the batching time of the process. Okay. So there is one batching process that we do. If there is any variation, so that batching time actually depends on the ideal crystal size that you want to achieve in your chocolate. If that batching time is varying, your crystals in the chocolate will vary. It will not be, apparent to the naked eye, but when you eat it, you will feel it. And it is, big enough that your consumers will start to notice. So in this, we can apply this 5 why analysis. कि ठीक है, texture vary हो रहा है. What kind of texture are you feeling? Is it, too soft or is it too hard to bite? This one question will lead you to, like, if it is too soft, then one of the machines is not working properly. Its center line has moved very high. It is not at where it should be. It is operating at a higher value. Why it is operating at a higher value? Somebody changed the center line. Who changed it, and why did he or she change it? Okay, they were either not aware of it, they were not given proper training, or they were not aware of the center lines of that machine. So whatever the case may be, you will again ask why were they not aware? When they were hired, were they not given this induction? Then again you will be able to trace back कि किसने नहीं बताया इसको. Or if it can end there also कि पता था फिर भी क्यों नहीं किया करके, that kind of thing. That is how we use 5 why analysis. Okay, so actually that was all from my side. We have this is a kind of not as a kuch, it is not fixed in stone कि you have to use this framework only. But usually when you have a process that has wastes or delays, we use the lean management. When you need to reduce defects and variation, we use the Six Sigma framework. When you have an idea or a test you have to conduct, you use this PDCA hypothesis. If you have a problem that has multiple contributors, you use a fishbone diagram. And when root cause isn't obvious, you use the 5 whys analysis. But as I said, these are all working together only. So this is just a guiding, a starting point. All right. Thank you, everyone. Does anyone have any questions?
When is the next session?
I'm scared if I take next session, I might bring all of my company into here.
Just would like to thank Rishika for taking this up, because
Thank you.
whatever it is, it suddenly becomes very, difficult and little nerve-wracking also. Like there'll be not just our batchmate, but then there'll be our junior batch also. Whether you are able to do it अच्छे से या नहीं, so that's a lot of thought. So thank you so much for doing it.
Thank you. Thanks, sir.
Yes. और
Thank
जितने
you
भी
very much. That was
तरीके बताए
amazing.
सब में, हाँ, सॉरी भाई.
No, bro, बताओ, आप बताओ, फिर बोलता हूँ.
नहीं, ये तो जो पांचों तरीके बताए उसमें वाकई में जो डिफरेंशिएशन किया है और वो सही मतलब रहा है, और उसको और डिटेल में पढ़ने का वो हो रहा है कि हाँ एक बार देख सकते हैं, क्योंकि मैंने वो ऑपरेशंस का वो लिया नहीं रेक्टिव. तो बहुत ही बढ़िया सेशन है फिर.
Yeah, I do realize that this was very manufacturing heavy thing, but it is actually a very good framework. And the people in this, if big MNCs that are there in the FMCG MNCG sector, they follow this very religiously. They all follow some variation of this, but ये तो होगा ही होगा उसमें. So if you are going for some interviews also in such companies, it will be helpful if you know these things, because they are like कि इसी पे operate करना है. This is your Bible kind of thing. So if you study deeper into this, it will be helpful in those kind of interviews and all.
Yeah, thank you so much, Rishika. It was really a wonderful session.
Okay, thank you, Vinam. Thank you all of you for joining. All right. If no one has any questions, I think we can end the session.
Also,
And
there's one
Dipanshu
question.
was asking about this PPT, I think. Yeah, I'll share the PPT.
I just have a little question. Like if we are given a live case during an interview and we do not have much like operationals idea about the manufacturing. For example, they were asking about texture and fragrance. When we do not have much idea what are the factors that affect texture or that can affect the fragrance during the manufacturing, how should we ask or go for clarifying questions from the interviewer?
So in such cases, what I would do is कि I would ask the interviewer directly कि you tell me what if this is the texture variation that is happening. Do you have these standard center lines for all the machines on your line? So they would have to tell you if he says कि yes, we do have the center lines, then your next question should be, are they being followed? Is there, do you keep an eye on whether they are being followed or not? Do you track the variation among those center lines? If they say yes, then again you will have to dive deeper कि next मतलब कि क्या issue हो सकता है, whether it is happening during the process or during logistics. Otherwise, if he says कि no, we do not have the SOP, then there is your answer. They should have an SOP and every operator should be aware of that center line. So you don't have to go into the technicalities of or the chemistry of why this defect is occurring. You just have to ask, do you have standards in place, and are those standards being followed religiously?
Okay, okay, thank you.
I guess before we go, one screenshot maybe.
Yeah.
Can someone take it? My key is not working actually. Thank you, Saili. Thank you, Deepthi, for switching on your cameras. Thank you, Ankit. If anybody is comfortable, please, you can switch it off also, but for a screenshot, it look good. Navneet, you'll take it?
Navneet is finally off the bike now.
I'm just switching on my camera.
Okay, okay. रोथान आप लोग ले लोगे क्या? ठीक है.
हाँ, I'm taking the screenshot. एक और एक मिनट और भी दीपांशु ने भी खोल रखा है कैमरा क्योंकि मेरे को उसमें लिमिटेड दिख रहा है. आई कैन सी ओनली फ्यू. धाकड़ भाई खोलोगे कैमरा? ठीक है. अच्छा एक मिनट रुको जब खोल ही दिया है तो स्क्रीन. ठीक है डन है जी डन है. ठीक है.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Rishika. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Thank you guys.
Bro, leave the meeting. Otherwise, recording will not stop.
Okay.